Welcome back to Blessed by G Beats. I'm the G, and we're gonna get back to this whole thing about Reason 12. I'm kind of starting to do some beats with Reason 12. I'm gonna do some videos of making some beats with Reason 12. In my opinion, one of the most underrated DAWs of all of the DAWs out there. Very awesome, very self-contained. So many different things you can do inside of Reason. It is absolutely crazy. So we're gonna make some. I think we're going to attempt to make a beat. It was acting kind of crazy, as I said earlier. It was acting kind of crazy yesterday, and now I come to find out they were doing some updates, looks like. And it looks like it's acting a little bit better, so we may be able to pull something off live. So, without further ado, let's see what it do. But first, let's roll that intro.
Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him.
Welcome back once again to Blessed by G Beats. As you know, I normally do a lot of things inside of Machina, but today we're going to be using Reason. I bought Reason last year, I think it was, maybe last November, and then after I bought it, Reason shocked everybody with their new Reason subscription, and I think I bought, like I said, Reason 11 Studio or whatever it was that had all the devices, but then of course they came out with devices after that. But now they have the subscription service to Reason 12, which includes Reasonplus, which was acting crazy yesterday too, the Reason companion app. And I'm gonna do another video on this later because I have not even installed one sound pack and don't even really know yet how Reason works as far as samples go. And so, you know, it is maybe a good way, it may be a good excuse to use Mimic, which really disappointed me. And not so much disappointed in the sampler itself. It's probably good for some people, but for me, I was disappointed simply because I was looking for something that would really step up the drum programming inside of Reason, which I'm not saying is bad, but just something that would be a little bit more along the lines of where you could put everything in that one module and not have to worry about just so much tedious putting together of different instruments and all of this stuff. But you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. So I'm going to reset this because I want to get right into this beat making. I did a lot of talking the other day, but I want to get right into this beat making as it applies to Reason. And so, like I said, when you kind of look at the interface for Reason, I do believe that this is a little bit daunting for people when they first look at it, because you have to start trying to figure out, well, you know, how does all this stuff work? You know, how does, you know, this whole thing with the rack, you know, it's not the traditional linear DAW setup, and, you know, you got your browser. But I really do think that when you start looking at some of it, it's simplistic. But I do think the way you kind of put everything together, that's probably daunting for some people. But once you get used to it, I really do believe, or the thing about Reason, as I said before, you can do the same thing so many different ways. I do believe the key to Reason is finding your workflow. And once you find your workflow, you'll have it. You'll really start flowing very quickly with beats inside of Reason. And so, for example, for me, you know, this is really the default template right here that's up. I'm going to build me a template to where I'm going to have all of my effect sends and all of that and stuff like that, because another thing with Reason is you really have to get used to, you know, for example, right here, it has an SSL mixer. And so you really have to just get acclimated into this mixer and the sends and all of that, because it works like a real mixer. It's modeled after the SSL console. But once you get all of that, once you get everything down and get you a good template to start with, you'll be banging out bangers so quick, man, it'll blow your mind. So I want to get started and kind of show you the way I like to work inside of Reason, at least how I do it in my simplistic way, to where at this point I haven't created any templates. But let's go start to scratch. I mean, from start, not necessarily start to finish, but let's start from scratch with a beat in Reason. So to me, the best way to work inside of Reason is do your drums in grain. I mean, they got a lot of dope things. I mean, you look at Kong Designer, it looks just like a drum machine, and it's really, really dope. But the problem becomes if you want to do any kind of tuning of the drums to where you want different pitches, then you can't accomplish it with any of these like Kong, Redrum, Mimic Let Me Down. They got Oomph, depending upon the version that you have. And these are some very nice little drum nice little drum makers right here, because they're basically like drum modules, but it's the same thing. You can't pitch the sounds up and down the keys. And depending upon the type of music you do, that's a big deal. So for me, that's why you might want to have various templates as it applies to working inside of Reason, because if you know you're not going to use a lot of pitched drums, you could have your basic drum kit inside of Oomph or inside of Kong or inside of Redrum. And then for the stuff that you want pitched, you could use grain for those individual elements. But for me, I just say go ahead and start out with the flexibility from the beginning. And this way it'll route everything individually to the mixer and you're ready to go. And so grain is it does granular synthesis with samples mixed in, I guess, or granular sample manipulation. And as you can hear, let's see, you can have some dope evolving sounds. But for me, I'm just going to reset it, and we're going to use this as our drum module. So we're going to use this as our drum module. So I got some drums that I saved from Splice when I was using Splice. Got a few drum packs here. And let's see. Actually, I got another dope drum pack. Let me see here. The Murder Beats kit. Man, if you do not... This kit right here alone is worth it just to get a Splice membership, get the Murder Beats kits, and you could be done with Splice. But this is a really dope kit. As you can hear, just some deep kicks. Okay, and so like I said, when you work with this grain, it's pretty simple. Let's see. I just say stay organized inside of Reason right off the top, because you're going to have to work. You want to be able to see this stuff on the mixer. And I think I'm just going to put MB. So once again, you go up here, grab this bar, extend it out so that you can get the whole sample to play. Change this to one shot. Set your release. Go to the grain or the long grains and turn it to tape. Also come right here. It finds the key automatically to your samples. You don't have to worry about it. Just click set. Because as you can see, I think this says it's C, and it'll read it automatically. Boom. Got it set. And there you go. You have your 808. And so I'm going to duplicate this. That way it already has all the settings. And then we'll come back to this murder kit. Yep. Come back over to the murder kit. got the murder. So we do the same thing. It's already stretched out. Everything's already set. One shot. All we have to do now is go right here to set. And there we go. Now we got a kick. Yep. We have our kick. And so let's change that. Like I said, I just think it helps. Some DAWs you can kind of run through and you can not even worry about this stuff and go back and do it all later. But I think on Reason, it's a little bit different. I think you really have to stay organized. So we're going to change the colors on these. Change that kick to orange. Change that to red. So now, because you're making this in grain, you can't really go in here and play the drum kit if you just want to kind of play around and get a feel for the drum kit. But that's the thing that I like about working in different DAWs. Like with Machina, because everything is so dope in the kits, and then you can automatically just put a sound in keyboard mode and and it's already tuned and all of this stuff, and the workflow it's conducive to making the drum machine the main focus. But in DAWs, the DAWs all have different ways of working, just like Ableton Live works, the way it works with the lanes and stuff. Well, with this, it works with the rack system. And so you kind of have to get used to working with that rack system. And so you're not going to be able to play on a drum kit, but you'll be able to play with the individual sounds, which I think is a whole different workflow. And the thing I like about Reason is it actually, to me, helps you come up, you do beats in a different way with Reason, just like you do with other DAWs. But I kind of like the beat workflow with Reason. I'm going to show you here in just a second. I mean, once you kind of get your drums selected, man, it's easy. And what I want to do, I just want to get the basics for now. So I'm just going to do 4 elements. I'll do maybe 4. Yeah, I think I'm going to do with 4. Start out with 4. I'm telling you, man, if you don't have this murder beats, and I need to go get the second murder beats kit. And see, once again, everything's set. Just click that. See? But see, I would rather work like this with the pitched instruments than have it in a drum kit that's traditional. So this is why I like working like this. So let's change that to snare. MB. Change that to murder beats snare. And change that color. Now this is why I say, one of the things that you start working in Reason. See, you can go ahead and create your template, have all of these modules already made, and then all you have to do is go in and do the drum kits themselves. And I'm pretty sure that you could kind of save these patches, and I'm thinking then you'd be able to go through and just, rather than picking those the way I'm doing it, you would just be able to hit the up and down arrow keys and it would go through all of those sounds. But we won't do that in this one. I think we'll do another video of making a template in Reason. So let's do our last one. Because, the reality is you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot to make a dope beat. So I'm going to go ahead. I already know what this is about. I know y'all saying, man, get to some beat making. Hold on a second. This is Reason, but this is why I said, no pun intended, but with Reason, you got to get the template set up. And I think it's very important when you deal with Reason. You have to get you a template set up. Because if you don't get you a template set up, you just... Okay, let me see something here. Might have made a mistake on this last one. Okay, yeah. Okay, so on the last one here, got ahead of the... Put the cart ahead of the horse. Let me drag that hi-hat in, and we're going to get started on this beat. Because one of the things I like about Reason is, but once you start with the melodies and the music, this is the part to me where people actually sleep on Reason as it applies to being able to make melodies and things like that, because it has a lot of dope things built in that you have to pay for in other DAWs. You have built into this. Yeah, let's do that obligatory right there. See, and like I said, once you get this made, and I'm not even flowing the way I should with this, but once you get this made, okay. All right, so we got our hat. All right, we ready to cook. Okay, I think I made right here. Make sure you go in also. Forgot about this. Change the polyphony. Change your polyphony on all of these. Change the polyphony on these. Not, they'll give you a few problems having drums polyphonic. All right. So those are our drums. And the cool thing is, if you look at the mixer, everything's already there. That's the cool thing about it. So it adds the tracks to the mixer as you go. So we don't even have to worry about the mixer right now, because the cool thing about Reason, these are also the mixer channels. You can do it from right there. And then, of course, you can also change the level on a master volume level, especially if you were gain staging. You could go to the master volume level of each one of these and change it like that. And so, hold on just a second. All right, so let's get into this. So now let's get into the instruments. And this is where I think it really shines, because there are a lot of dope instruments inside of Reason, especially if you get the Reason, the one that I got. I think it was called Reason. I can't remember. It was Reason Studio or something like that. But it gave a whole bunch of sounds. But there is a rack extension maker, I guess what we call them, DNA Labs. Man, let me tell you something. The first one, the first third-party racks you need to purchase has to be by DNA Labs. They have Aquios, Hydronexus, Morphine. I have that. But the one you have to get is Glacius. And I'm getting ready to here tonight. I'm going to upgrade to Glacius 2, and I'm actually going to do a I'm gonna do a review on Glacius. I am telling you, this thing here, it is worth getting Reason and having Glacius. And I'm not talking about, I don't know if you want to do the expansion, that's up to you. But even if you buy the standalone version and you get Glacius, you're going to give Omnisphere, Nexus, or any other VST, you're going to give it a run for its money, especially because you can use Reason as a plug-in. Then you can use Glacius as a plug-in because it's inside of Reason. you can use that as a plugin in your favorite DAW. I am telling you, Glacius it has got to be one of the dopest plugins I've ever played with. And DNA Labs, all they do is continue to add sounds to it. And now they have come back this year, and now they have given us Glacius 2, which I'm going to do a review on next week. But when I tell you the sounds on this thing, man, I'm telling you, sounds for days. So we're gonna start with a bell. And so and another thing that I really like, and hold on, you know what? And so what we're gonna do, matter of fact, I've gotten to the point that when I make a beat in Reason, I'm just gonna make a confession, man. Everything comes from Glacius now. Everything comes from Glacius. Let's start with some of these crazy keys they have. Let's see. I love this sound right here. And so the cool thing about Glacius, okay, it opened up another instance. So we got our other one up here too. Okay, that's cool. All right, so the thing I like about Reason is it also has these players, and a lot of you are already familiar with this. But for some of you who are not, it has built-in devices that help you manipulate sounds. And so I have Scalar too, use that a lot. But inside of Reason, you don't really have to use Scalar, because Reason has long had its own kind of version of Scalar. Before Scalar had even came out, they had their own version of Scalar, and it's called Scales and Chords. And it's not as deep as Scalar, but I really like it because it's a lot more simpler than Scalar, if that makes sense. You know, you can just basically do your triads. You can do your sevenths, your ninths, your 11ths, your 13ths, your inversions, open chords. You can add an octave, as you can see up here. It's just easy to me, you know, when you start thinking about working with chords. Now with Scalar, it's dope, but you're gonna have to, you know, depending on how in depth you want to get with Scalar, you got to do a little bit of work in there. But with this, basic, man, very simple, and gets us, you know, just enough. You know, it has just enough more things that you can do to where you can make it to where it sounds very, very intricate. So let's turn this one down a little bit also. Kind of want to start with some keys on this, and then we'll come back with that melody. All right, let me make sure I'm at the right one. Okay, so we are on the right one. We're gonna drop that sequencer back down. Okay, I see what it did. It put a, okay. Now I'm gonna show you a trick with that too. And another reason why I like working with scales and chords on every instrument when I start working inside of Reason. And the reason being is, let's say, so I want to work, let's put this at okay, this thing is not, I told you I'm not a Reason expert. All right, but I'm gonna show you what I'm doing here in just a second. All right, so that's that one. We have that one selected. And so I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna put scale and chords. So I got scales and chords on both of them, right? And so we have this beautiful harmony bell. And I think what I'm gonna do, I don't know. Let's see. Let's work in E minor maybe. Now, what I like about this, it'll teach you some music theory because you can come right up here and you can just emulate. You can just emulate. Make sure I got it. You can just emulate or you automatically get that scale. See? You automatically get that scale. So it'll help you to make your melodies. If you want to make them by using the keyboard, you can follow the highlighted keys on the screen that will help you stay in key. That is dope. That is absolutely dope. And so I like how that works. And so you can set it to filter the notes to where if you filter the notes on, it will only sound with the ones that are in key. See, I think that's really, really dope. Or if you have it off, it'll just move it. If you hit the wrong key, it'll move it. As you see, it moved it up the next step. Or it stayed down here because it was the same thing. So this is why I will do this. I'll put this on every instrument. I'll put this on every instrument, and then I can keep everything. I know everything's in key, and then I can make my melodies and everything in key. So let's go. So we got this right here. And I think this is where I want to be at. Yeah. All right. So let's go. I think I said I was going to do E minor. Let's see. So immediately when you pull up E minor, okay, it says that's a road. Okay, I don't like that sound. Thought I was gonna start with some keys, but okay, so I don't like those keys. I'm going too far. I want to get to C. Okay, so I think I got something there. Okay, so I'm gonna show you something here, and like I said, I'm just showing you some different things you can do. You can add an octave. Octave down. Now watch this. Now I'm gonna show you what I really like about this as opposed to how you work with scalar. Don't get me wrong, you use scalar all the time. But let's see here. Let me go up here. I think I'm gonna use. So here's the cool thing. So we got all of everything on one track. So I think we're gonna do this in the trap style. So I'm gonna put this up to about 150 starting out, and then we'll work our way up and down pin. All right. All right. So let's see if this is going to record for us, because the other day it was bad. Let's try. Okay. All right, so I didn't quite make that long enough, did I? All right, so we'll go back in. All right, so let's look at that on the grid. And then one of the things I like to do so you can get some screen real estate, you want to kind of close some things here and there. So let's see what we got here. Get the pencil tool. All right. Select all of those and then quantize there. And this, let's see. So as I was saying, you know, when you start working in here, once you kind of get the working, then you start to realize, okay, this is pretty similar. Now I'm getting into familiar territory. You'll notice on the side, you got your drums, you got your instruments, and now you're going to start kind of working in that linear fashion, right? Okay, so let's see if we can get that in and make it work right. Okay, so the problem is I don't have this thing right here set right. All right. Now I'm going to show you something here that I really like about how Reason works after we do this. Let's go. Okay, let's go in here. Made one little mistake, but the cool thing is we can correct that easy. All right, let's do a little quantize of that. Get everything in. Turn that click off now. Now, here becomes what I like. Now, if you'll notice, because we put those into scalar by hitting scales and chords, hitting single notes, well, single notes are the only thing that came out, right? So let's use a little bit of trickery here. So we got this here. And let's see if this works. So we're going to copy that sequence right to that. And since we have this selected, let's drop that sequencer down just for a second. And let's see, let's take this off of chords and see if it's right. Let's see. So now we got a melody and we got the chords going right behind it. Now let's go back and solve our other problem. So down here, and for anybody who uses Reason, they already know all this stuff. This is nothing to this is nothing to them. But watch this. This is what I love about scales and chords inside of Reason. So once you get a melody or once you get a chord progression or whatever it is you're doing, there is a button in scales and chords that just simply says send the track. Boom. Hit the send the track button. And now, rather than doing what we have to normally do in scalar, where we have to drag the MIDI out, and sometimes it doesn't even be in time or be right, but inside of scales and chords in Reason, it automatically sends the chord track. Boom. Automatically sends the chord track. Automatically sends the chord track to the track lane and then mutes the one with the single notes. Boom. How you like that? How you like that? You see how it's got the lines through it? I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty clean. And so now you just go through and start doing what you do. Select your kick. Right. So let's turn. So we probably have to turn these down a little bit. All right, let's command return. Okay, I don't like how I did that. Okay, and then like I said, you got your workflow going now, because to me that's really the biggest hurdle inside of Reason, is getting the drums going and just kind of figuring out your drum workflow. But as far as everything else goes, I think if you play around with Reason, you may find Reason to be a lot easier than your other DAWs. And I'm getting some serious lag, but it is recording, so. Okay, so looks like I think I got an issue with this one right here. And I'm gonna move that one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. When you work inside of Reason, man, it's that simple. Okay, and then let's see here. Now the cool thing is, since we got all of these on separate tracks, guess what we can do now? Open the browser up, go to the players. We can put a scale on our 808, and boom, select E minor. And turn off the chord function. See? So, because we got scalar be able to go on that, just like that. Let's try it. That lag is crazy, isn't it? And I'm thinking this is probably because of Reason 12. And I'm thinking it's still in a beta stage because Reason 11, no problems. Reason 11 runs way, way, way smoother. And I'm wondering, let's see here. I'm going to turn this Reason companion app off and see if it'll, okay. See if that'll help it some. Okay, now there's something else you can do on here. And let me see. I haven't. Okay. For anybody familiar with FL Studio, forgive me, I'll figure this out in the next video. But there is something that you can do called ghost notes. And basically what ghost notes is I think where you can go in and you can choose the notes of one lane and then select another lane and be able to see those notes, so you can be able to just program things in the same key or whatever you want to do. And let's see here. I'm thinking, oh man, I haven't played around with this part. I'm telling you, I don't use. Okay, there it is. So as long as the multi-lane is highlighted, I think this means you can go in and select the notes, or put the notes on top of each other, some form. Let's see. See how they're on top of each other? I'm going to do that in another video, but I just want to let you know that you can actually do that in here too. And if I was doing, if it wasn't, see, if I was able to do this real time, if it wasn't lagging so bad, and like I said, y'all forgive me, I think this has everything to do with Reason 12 maybe being in beta, and they haven't really. I don't think they've really made it efficiently running yet. I think this may be the problem. I would go in there and fix that, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave it just like that. But I just want to give you an example of just making beats inside of this thing. And so, because I'm telling you, offline, if you were doing this without any screen recording, everything would be running smooth. So, and what I'm doing here, these are the hi-hats. So you can basically put this at a grid of 16, just like any other DAW, just kind of showing you how some of this stuff works. Grab that old pencil tool and put it on draw multiple notes. This is the, oh man. This is, wait. And then you just come in here. And it looks like it's not, okay, so let's go back. Okay, so I put that on the quarter notes. Okay, so let's go back. And then we can put these on eighth notes. All right, let's see how it works now. Like I said, man, this is just a beat to kind of let you see the workflow that you can kind of do with Reason. It's just as good as, if not better than some DAWs. And then if you know, let's see. All right, so, let's say we want to get a little fancy, come in here, erase those. All right, we're going to get this in a minute. All right. Then we could go back to the pencil tool, change up that grid a little bit. And then when we come in here, okay, and I might have got a little far in there. That's it. Let's see what it do. See? Pretty simple. Come in here. We might want to select these notes. Okay, I'm going to try to bring them down. I don't know if I'm able to. And I'm pretty sure I could select these, but I'm just showing you just quickly here. You can do some dope stuff inside of Reason, man. See? Let's do it. Yep. Go in here. I would probably go in here. Select these notes. And then I would come in here, see if I could delete these notes. Put that there. Boom. Then I would probably come down here at the end Then if you really want to get a little fancy, come back to that multiple note tool. Put your little 1/32 there at the end. Yep. 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 And then another trick that I really like in Reason, that works, it's really conducive in this particular DAW. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here and add one more, and then we're gonna be done with this beat. But I'm gonna show you, and let's use another instrument here. Well, let's do a couple of different things. Hold on a second. Kind of once you get into the flow of what you got going on and got a few things made, I'm going to DNA Labs again. I'm thinking I may use Hydro Nexus this time. Let's see. Okay, let's bring that up. Whoops. Let's bring up Hydro Nexus. And let's search out some pads. All right, let's go back over to the sequencer. Close that mixer up. All right, so cool thing is we don't really have to do a whole lot. We're just gonna drag this down. Boom. Whoops. Hold on. Didn't hold down option. There we go. All right, so we got a little pad back there. And then, like I said, the way you can work inside of Nexus, I really, really like it. I want to bring in now, let's bring in a radical piano. I don't even have to bring up the scales and the chords on this, right? Because all I'm going to do, watch this. I'm going to drag the same chord track down without ever even having to do anything else. But this is not what we're going to do. All right. Let's close that rack in that browser. And there's shortcut keys to close those racks and browsers and stuff like that. But we're going to come down here and we're going to delete all this. And then we're going to randomly, and you may want to do this by design, but I'm going to erase certain notes of the chord. And this, ladies and gentlemen, This is how we're going to do our melody. And this works fabulously most of the time, right? And if you want, you can still leave a couple of the notes playing, you know, at the same time. So let's see how it sounds real quick. All right. So since we got the same thing going on, let's just delete it and then come up here. I'm just doing something simple right now. But you can get, oops. You can really get as stupid with this and this chord trick as you want to, right? Boom. Let's see what it sounds like. And as you can see, that's pretty much Reason in a nutshell. You know, you just got to go in and learn it. But once you go in and learn it, man, it is. You can do some things with Reason that you can't even do with other DAWs. And so it is so dope. Let's see what we're working with here. All right. And there we go. Whoa. We're going to conclude it right here. But I'm just doing a quick little. Just doing a quick little verse there. Verse and chorus. And I could probably do this easier. Like I told you, I don't really work in this a lot from the beat making perspective. But I think you could probably do this a lot easier with blocks. This is one of the places where I think that Reason needs to kind of step its game up, is how it kind of works with this part of constructing songs. But other than that, let's do it. Play through twice, didn't mean it to, but oh well. Let's do it. Okay, I thought it sliced all that up. That should be slicing all that up. Y'all don't worry about it. Probably use the error. Yes, sir. All right. So that's gonna do it for that. Let's change that buffer size a little bit. That may be another reason why it's struggling just a tinge. But I know this is partially too because this is a beta, I bet. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Do it. And this right here is just a little sample of what you can do, man. I mean, offline when everything's running real time, you can do so many different things. I didn't even add any effects, play with any EQ, which is so easy to do inside of Reason. Yep. But that's gonna do it for this video. Just a little something, sign of things to come. We're gonna start making some beats in Reason so I can show people just how dope it is. We're even gonna use it inside of Machina because I think it's a great alternative to Omnisphere, Nexus, and all that stuff. Reason holds its own pound for pound, sound for sound. So that's gonna do it for me. Until the next time, keep grinding, keep inspiring. Peace.